Court is back in session once again. Welcome back to another episode of Tony's Takes presented by Fireside Giants. I'm your host, Anthony Rivardo. You can call me Tony. You can call me the leader of the Joe Judge fan club, and you can follow me on Twitter at Anthony_Rivardo. And today we are diving into another lesser known player on the New York Giants who has been standing out in training camp. This is the second episode of the Training Camp Standout series. The first one was on David Sills. Go check that out if you haven't seen it already. A lot of great information on David Sills, this wide receiver who many fans don't know about, that has been absolutely balling out in practice for the Giants this training camp. So now we're going to go into Rodarius Williams, rookie cornerback, 6th-round pick out of Oklahoma State, who has also been balling out in training camp for the Giants. He's been making plays left and right. He's been the training camp standout on the Giants website quite a few times, I believe, and he's even racked up a couple interceptions, played with the first team. It's been a really exciting summer for the brother of Greedy Williams, Rodarius Williams, and if you may remember, if you've been following along with this channel for a while, back in May, myself and my co-host on Fireside Giants, Alex Wilson, we did interview Rodarius Williams and got to talk to him about his collegiate career, his expectations entering the NFL this upcoming season, and everything like that. So I'm going to link that down below. Go check that out if you haven't seen it already. It's a really, really great interview with Rodarius Williams, who came across as a super friendly and confident guy. He was really fun to talk to, and he was a great interview. And you can see just the confidence that he oozes, which is going to be a topic of discussion throughout the majority of this video, because one of the main things for cornerbacks is they have to be confident. If you're not confident as a cornerback, you're likely not going to succeed in the NFL. That's one of the main things that scouts look for in a cornerback when they're evaluating the player, evaluating the prospect. Sure, they look at everything that they do on the field, but when they get to talk to the player or research the player or the person behind the player, they like to see a confident guy who is very assured that he is the man. He is the number one corner. He is that player, that dude, right? That's what they want to see from a cornerback. And Rodarius Williams absolutely has that mindset. He's super motivated, super dedicated, and he is super confident. And he's often been described as a guy with a lot of swagger on the field and a guy who just oozes confidence, which I love to see. And I'm sure many of you love to see that as well. So anyway, as we get into Rodarius Williams, let's start off just with some general background on the player in case any of you don't know. The Giants did draft him in the 6th round of this year's 2021 NFL draft. He is a 24-year-old rookie, which is pretty old for a rookie. He was redshirted in college in his freshman year, so he was there for a little longer than most players usually are. So he is 24. He's actually the older brother of Cleveland Browns cornerback Greedy Williams, who was in the NFL draft, I believe, 2 years ago. I think he was drafted 2 years ago, yeah, and so this is his older brother entering the NFL 2 years after him, which is kind of crazy. Did play at Oklahoma State. He's 6 foot, 195 pounds. He's lanky, he's big and strong, and he is that ideal outside cornerback body type. So as we discuss Rodarius Williams, we'll dive into his college career next, but I want you to keep in mind that this is a guy who is penciled in as an outside cornerback. This is not one of those slot cornerbacks. Like last year, the Giants drafted Darnay Holmes in the 4th round, slot corner. That's what they wanted him to be. He played outside in college, but they drafted him to be a slot cornerback. This past NFL draft, 2021, a few months ago, they went ahead and drafted Aaron Robinson in the 3rd round, traded up to get him. Another guy that they project to be a slot cornerback. Has the ability to play outside, but they're projecting him as a slot cornerback. We'll see exactly how they decide to use him this upcoming preseason, hopefully, whenever he's off the injury list, the PUP, because he does have a core injury right now, which is why we haven't gotten to see Aaron Robinson practice just yet. But Rodarius Williams was picked 3 rounds later after Aaron Robinson, and he is not one of those slot cornerbacks that the Giants have been trying to build up some depth at that position. He is an outside cornerback, so building up depth behind Adoree Jackson, behind James Bradberry, that's Rodarius Williams' job. In college, Rodarius Williams finished with 150 total tackles, 35 stops, and allowed just 54.2% of the pass targets against him to be completed for 1,636 yards and 11 touchdowns. He logged 2 career interceptions. They both came in 2017, and he logged 27 pass breakups. In 2020, he was second team All Big 12 Conference, and he also set a school record that season with 48 consecutive starts. This is a guy, I remember when we did speak to him in that interview, he was saying, no matter what, if I'm alive, if I'm breathing, I'm out there and I'm ready to play. And it was really awesome to hear that. Again, that confidence, that swagger. But this is a player who's durable, we know that for sure. And what do you want in depth pieces? You want them to be durable. With your depth, you want to know that if your starter goes down with an injury, this guy is there and he's ready to play and he's prepared to go out there and compete. Rodarius Williams ideally is that player. Like, that's exactly what you're getting with him. No matter what, say, knock on wood, but if James Bradbury or Dory Jackson were to go down with an injury anytime this season and they needed an outside cornerback who's physical to go in and play for them, Rodarius Williams will absolutely be there and ready and healthy to play. That's what his history tells us. He's never missed a game. He's started 48 consecutive games. He's always been healthy, and even if he's not completely healthy, which I believe he told us he wasn't always completely healthy, he still is going to find a way to get his ass on the field and compete. Love that scrappy mentality from Rodarius Williams. And yeah, pretty solid collegiate career. We'll go into his scouting report next. This is from NFL Draft Bible. So the pros to his game, he is a press man corner, as I've been saying, and as we've been discussing on this channel for a couple months, Patrick Graham has made it really clear that he wants to run more press man coverage this upcoming season. The Giants played a lot of zone coverage last year, disguising their coverage looks, trying to maximize the personnel that they had defensively, but this year they want to play a lot more press man coverage. They weren't able to do that with the personnel that they had last year, but this upcoming season there should be a change and we should see a lot more man coverage. Another pro, he does exude confidence and physicality to counteract big body pass catchers outside the numbers. And I think the term pass catchers is key because it didn't say wide receivers in the scouting report. Pass catchers includes wide receivers and tight ends. He's that physical that he can match up against tight ends, and we have seen him do that on his collegiate tape, even though he is an outside cornerback. And as a press man corner who is physical, he's physical as a tackler, super aggressive, and he's physical at the line of scrimmage, pressing wide receivers, jamming them at the line, and giving them some trouble as they try to move downfield. So very physical outside cornerback. This is ideally, those pros, those are what you need from an outside guy. Like, that's ideal for an outside cornerback, just being super aggressive, being super physical, and having the body and the strength to go up against big outside receivers and tight ends. That's everything that Rodarius Williams has, and that's everything that he needs to be a successful outside cornerback in the NFL. Cons for Rodarius, though, is he's not the quickest player, and he does lack change of direction skills. That could obviously be a problem if he's going up against a shiftier wide receiver, even on the outside. Guys like Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs is one of the shiftiest wide receivers in the NFL, but he is an outside receiver. At least he played outside last year. He has played in the slot before, and they move him around over there in Buffalo, but last year primarily he was their outside number one wide receiver. So Rodarius probably doesn't match up well against those shiftier outside receivers. Against those bigger guys, kind of guys like Mike Evans, those ginormous, like, kind of trees that just go up there and catch everything. That's kind of where Rodarius Williams shines, is going up against guys like that, because the thing with guys like Mike Evans, when they're jammed at the line of scrimmage, it's nearly impossible to jam a guy like that. He's so strong, he's quick off the line, he's going to shove you out of the way. But when you have a super physical outside cornerback that can kind of do the same thing back to him, then you kind of have a pretty good matchup there, and you can be comfortable with that. So Rodarius Williams would match up well with a big body receiver, Mike Evans' playing style. Think about that, the playing style. Not saying that talent level of a player, because of course we're talking about Mike Evans versus a sixth-round rookie, but that playing style, the Kenny Golladay playing style, the Giants just signed him. Big, physical, imposing threat on the outside that gets pushed at the line of scrimmage. There is no real push given, and then he could throw them out of the way and go downfield. You need a big, strong outside cornerback to counteract that, and that's what Rodarius Williams' game entails. But one of the other cons is that he can also get a bit grabby early in reps, and that he lacks patience when using his eyes and looking into the backfield, things like that. So getting a bit grabby is a thing that we see. Even J.C. Horn, the rookie that went in the top 10 to the Carolina Panthers, he's another player that was a bit grabby on his collegiate film. Getting a bit grabby early on in reps can be a problem, but most of the time it just means that this is a super aggressive and physical cornerback, which is exactly what Rodarius Williams is. He's super physical, he's super aggressive. He wants to get his hands on you and disrupt you before you start running that route. As soon as you get off the line of scrimmage, he wants to get his hands on you and make sure that this route is going to be a pain for you to run. So yeah, that is a con, but you can look at it as he's trying to be that big outside, aggressive corner that we want. So, yeah, it's a con because it can lead to a lot of holdings, it can lead to pass interference. So, that kind of stuff can be a problem, but it's something that you can get coach out of him, I believe. So now as we talk about training camp, because he is a standout at training camp, he has stood out in multiple practices, and he has earned some first-team reps as a reward for his good play. If you go search Rodarius Williams, New York Giants, and you go look at some of the articles, it says explicitly that he earned the first-team reps. He was given those as a reward for standing out throughout practice. And he got an interception with the first team, and he's gotten a couple of interceptions throughout practices. So he's been playing really, really well, and he's been doing a really good job in these practices. So good that he's even made his way into the first team and earned some reps with the starters, which is super impressive and exciting. And like I said, a couple interceptions, a couple pass breakups here and there. Here's a quote from Rodarius Williams that he said to the media within the past couple of weeks. "Every day, I just show up and take advantage of whatever opportunity I get. I'm in coach's ear like, Coach, I'm ready. Whenever my moment comes, I'm going to take advantage of it." Exactly what you want to hear from a sixth-round rookie, right? Whenever he has that moment to shine, he's going to grab the mic and start singing. That's what you want to see from a sixth-round rookie who's just trying to make it in this league. And I really think that he has the mentality, the confidence, and that just swagger to make it in this league. I really think he does. Rodarius Williams, I'm very high on him. I'm a big fan. But ultimately, will he make the final 53-man roster? Well, let's list out the guys who are on the roster right now. Let's list out the cornerback depth. You got James Bradberry, that's a lock. Adoree Jackson, that's a lock. Isaac Yiadom, Darnay Holmes, Sam Beal, Rodarius Williams, Aaron Robinson, and I believe that's Quincy Wilson there at the bottom. So that's 8 cornerbacks right there who are competing for this roster. Like I said, Bradberry, Jackson are a lock. If Rodarius Williams is going to make this roster, he's going to have to beat out Sam Beal or Isaac Yiadom. Now, that's kind of a tall task of beating out Isaac Yiadom, considering the fact that he was a starter for the majority of the season last year for the New York Giants. So kind of beating him out in that way doesn't seem too likely. I think that they keep Isaac Yiadom around just because he is that, experienced guy now. He has a full year playing in the system. But let's see exactly, because as I'm recording this, the Giants just went ahead and released their first official depth chart. So here's what they have. Left cornerback James Bradberry, Isaac Yiadom second string, Madre Harper, Sam Beal, then Aaron Robinson. So they have Sam Beal way down the line. Right cornerback, though, Adoree Jackson, Darnay Holmes, Rodarius Williams, and then Jarren Williams. So Rodarius is actually pretty high up on this depth chart. Now, of course, this is really convenient that while I'm recording this, they tweeted this out. But Rodarius is pretty high on the depth chart right now. You have him in the third string, which is about where you would expect him. But you have him ahead of guys like Sam Beal. Aaron Robinson hasn't played. Kind of hard to really evaluate him. You have him ahead of Jarren Williams. I guess him and Madre Harper are both third string, but come on, we watched Madre Harper play last year. I think Rodarius Williams is going to edge him out there and get ahead of him on the depth chart and probably make the roster over him. So I'm feeling pretty confident Rodarius Williams now, especially after seeing this. I do believe that Rodarius Williams will make this final 53-man roster. I think that he might be the final cornerback on the depth chart, but still, I think that he makes it. I think that they carry 5 to 6 cornerbacks. Let's say James Bradberry, Adoree Jackson, Isaac Yiadom, Darnay Holmes, Aaron Robinson, and then I believe Rodarius Williams would be number 6. I think that that's what they ultimately decide to do, and that's a lot of that is because they view Sam Beal. Sam Beal really just hasn't shown up at any point. They view Aaron Robinson as a guy who can play in multiple spots, so they don't feel the need to bring in another guy, like 7 corners. You got Aaron Robinson who can play outside, inside, and they've been talking about playing him at a little bit of safety. So, yeah, I mean, I think that Rodarius Williams makes the final 53-man roster, but I'm curious to know what all of you think. I kind of just listed out the depth chart right there. You can go on to Giants.com. They just released the first depth chart, and you can go see the list of names ahead of him. What do you think? Will Rodarius Williams make the final 53-man roster? And please let me know if you took something from this video that you did not know about Rodarius before. If there was something that caught your eye, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and let me know down in the comment section below. And yeah, basically, guys, that's my take on Rodarius Williams. That's Tony's take for you. I do think he makes a final 53-man roster. I love his competitiveness. I love his swagger. I love his motivated demeanor. And I love the way that he plays as an outside cornerback cornerback who's super physical at the line of scrimmage. The Giants need more physical outside cornerbacks, and I think that they get that with Rodarius Williams, a guy who has stood out greatly throughout the training camp process. So that's, like I said, my take on Rodarius Williams. Let me know your take on him down below in the comment section. And subscribe if you're new. Ring the bell so you do not miss a video. I will see you in the next one. Court is officially adjourned. Have a good one. And let's go Giants.